Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings, wherever you are on planet Earth, including everybody in Rosarito, Mexico. I'll get straight to it. The title of this video is Karl Larsen. I have received a reply from Karl to my email, which I'll come to in a minute. Before that, we will be going live this evening at 9 o'clock Spanish time, 8 o'clock United Kingdom time. So then if you guys, I'm just terrible at time zones, if you guys Google what time is it in the UK now, I'll try and see if Graham can get the StreamYard thing where it bills it. Can we do that, where it's got a countdown and then people can see, right? Yes, Karl. Thank you all very much for the comments. I still haven't got through them all on the video yesterday, where I explained that I had emailed Karl and asked him if he would do a live. He has replied. He doesn't want to do it. I'm not quoting him exactly, but it was something along the lines of, I'm so done with going live on air. And I can actually understand that, because whatever anybody thinks of Karl, I think he really put himself in the fire, at the firing line of a Gatling gun. There's obviously so much information. People have so many questions. Members of the Markle family desperately want to get certain messages across. Clearly, there's ill feeling there. I did see some of the top comments on the video from last night that I did with Graham. I don't know how to put it delicately, and as you all know, I'm a pretty plain speaker. This channel is all about free speech, right? Now, I think when people hear the term free speech, they think that means everything they want to hear, and it is not. Accepting free speech, accepting and giving someone the courtesy to speak, is as important as your own points of view and beliefs. It's about being allowed to discuss freely and openly. And when I see comments such as Samantha Markle should get a restraining order to prevent Karl from ever mentioning her father's name again, I'm sorry, but that is very reminiscent of Christopher Boosey's threats and Sarah Data's that Yankee Wally should not dare to mention Meghan Markle. It's the same. And as I've said many times before, when you silence your opponent, you automatically silence yourself. Some others of you have expressed concern. Don't do it, Fiona. He's a snake. You'll put a target on your back. Well, that again is very much the point of this channel. It's about open debate, open free speech. Besides which, I rather think it would be the other way around. He doesn't want to do a live. He did tell me that there were things I could, well, I mean, he said, you know, you can tell them what I've emailed you, basically, and I don't want to speak for him at all. He told me he's never worked for Meghan Markle. Make what you will of that. He told me no good deed goes unpunished. And what was the third thing he said? I can't remember, and I haven't got the email in front of me because I'm using the phone, my only device that I use for anything. He also said that he is changing the whole concept of the Royal Celebrity Tour, to a book. Now, I don't know if that book is going to be mostly words or photographs. As he's a photographer, I would hope that the book is full of his pictures, because I replied to him and said, you know, a picture tells 1,000 words, providing it's not photoshopped, which of course in this day and age none of us know. It's so good, isn't it, the software? It's so clever, all the things people can do. I mean, I saw a cover of a magazine a few years ago of King Charles doing something unspeakable, which I'm certain is fake, but it looked so convincing, and it was on the front cover of a magazine. I actually showed my bosses and they went, my God, that can't be real. So I would say to Karl, he's a photographer. I would imagine he has lots of photographs of lots of things throughout his life. A lot of you have said, oh, he lies, he lies. Well, if he lies, he lies. I have said to him, if he does change his mind and does want to go on a live, I would give him the floor to speak. one thing I've noticed about him when he's interviewed, and I include the Remarkable Friends, is he does tend to go on a little bit too long. So the only thing I would sort of do is try and move him on to the next subject, just to keep a pace, because otherwise, I understand when someone is in the heart of a situation, a problem, they want to talk a lot about that. I know, I've been there, as you all know, been there, done that. And you'll take the ear of anyone who will listen. But it is important to keep everybody's attention and not sort of allow things to go on and on and on and on and on too long, labouring a particular point. So that's the only way that I think I would move him on if he was doing that. Other than that, I think I would give him the floor. Now, I said to him, how he chooses to use that, if he were to come on a live, that's up to him. I've also said to him, I usually find the truth is the best policy. It really is, no matter how uncomfortable or difficult. Free speech is so important. We must be allowed to share ideas. I've seen comments saying, don't do it, Fiona, because other YouTubers have done it. Well, I'm sorry, that sounds very patronising. I'm not 3 years old. I don't need other YouTubers to take my hand and help me understand a situation. That actually comes across as very dictatorial, and I think it begins to wander into the realms of the sugars. Think about it, guys. If we all want our free speech and our opinions heard, then we must allow people with opposing ideas and opinions to have a voice and to have their say, uninterrupted and not shouted down. Now, to give you some idea, and also Karl, because Karl will be watching this video, of course it has his name in the title, and I promised him I would send him a link to this so that he can sort of get the general idea, because he's probably like, who the hell is this avid person? So the first question I would ask Karl is, how did he get into photography? Because, okay, a lot of you, I saw one comment that said, oh, you only have to look at the guy to see he's sleazy. Whoa! We're getting into serious witch burner territory if we're going to condemn people because of the way they look, people. Oh, he looks sleazy, therefore he did it. No. We're not going down that road. No human being is one-dimensional or two-dimensional. All human beings, and Karl is a human being, are multifaceted. Each and every one of us are made up of who we are today by our upbringing, our circumstances, things that have happened during our lives. My husband's a photographer. I'd actually say that's Graham's main thing. That his most consistent thing, above being a captain of a dolphin boat, above being a parachutist, above being a pilot, the one thing Graham all his life has been passionate about is photography. And he has been accused, we were in the heat of something in Gibraltar with the dolphins, and he would document stuff with his camera, and used to have this camera, I think it's an SLR. Is it SLR?
Yeah.
Digital SLR. And he had it on a gun stock, so he could tuck it under his arm and just go boof, boof, and kind of shoot from the hip. And some of our critics, shall we say, said, oh, he's shooting me. For God's sake, it's a camera. It's not a gun. I will admit it did look very aggressive. But for people to say, oh, you're not allowed to take photographs, you're not allowed to have, and I've got to say, guys, I really hate that Will Smith quote, get your name out, get my name out, you're effing that. I really hate that. I detest that. I don't faint at the sound of it, but it's just so awful. It's just, I mean, I watch some things on YouTube around this issue, and I watch and listen, and I think to myself, what would her late majesty think hearing all of this? What would Diana think? So I'd like to know, how did Karl get into photography in the first place? I wouldn't imagine he saw a job spot that said paparazzi wanted, and he thought, I'll apply for that. Oh, I got the job. I would imagine there's a long backstory behind that, and I'm interested in hearing that story. You're all into body language. Jesus Enrique Rosas, the very handsome and charming body language guy. So I think on a live, allowing Karl to speak, you're not children. You can watch, you can listen, you can make your own minds up. If you think he's lying, you'll be quick to say. If you think he's telling the truth about some parts but not others, or he's being cagey, I'm not your mother. I'm not going to tell you, oh, you mustn't listen. You'll be poisoned. Your head will be turned. Question number 2, who is Jeff Rayner? Where does he come from? What's his background? I would also ask, what's Karl's version of the setup shots of Thomas Markle Sr. that caused such a storm around the time of Meghan and Harry's wedding? I would like to hear his version. Whether it is true or false, I would like to allow him the chance to speak. And if he's lying, it's on the record. It will stay on my videos as long as my channel stays up. You'll know that, and he'll be committed to what he has said. He may change his version later, and then people can challenge him, or there may be consistencies. I don't know. I'm not a judge. I'm not there to judge anybody. I'm there to listen. Has he ever met Meghan in person or spoken to her? He says he doesn't work for her. That's present tense. Has he ever worked for her? When did he start becoming aware of her? Was it pre-Harry? Who is Jeff Rayner? That's sort of where that would come in. How does it all fit together? Aside from the Markle family, the pre royal wedding, really, because I think it was the royal engagement that's what caused Tom Sr. and Tom Jr. and Samantha and the other members of the family. They were suddenly thrown into this spotlight of which they had no choice. They're just, whoa, here we are. And I really feel they were hung out to dry and left to deal with it all on their own. And that's a lot to go from, I've got an ordinary, everyday, a private life. Suddenly I'm being thrown into the spotlight and I have sharks circling. And some of those people they probably didn't even realise were sharks at the time. Karl presumably being one of them. I remember on the Remarkable Friends, he did actually say sorry to Mr. Markle, and he said, I ruined your life and now I'm trying to... Something like that, you guys can probably remember. So has he ever met Meghan, spoken to her? What does he feel she's like? And was he photographing her long before? And just generally, I mean, the aspect I'm interested in with Karl is not his connection with the Markles, not really his connection with Meghan. I really would like to get into the mindset. Is he a paparazzi? Does he class himself as a paparazzi? What is the world of, what's that world like? What really goes on behind the scenes? What's the dirtiest deals he's ever seen, without naming names, of course? That type of thing, because I'm very interested, because Princess Diana, of course, suffered with the paparazzi. Paparazzi's different to the press. It's, freelance photographers, and they do all kinds of things to get the shot they want to get. So I am interested. I would imagine it's a highly competitive industry, cutthroat industry. You have no friends, trust no one. That's the aspect that I would be interested in. And really just letting Karl talk and explain exactly how he's going to do this book. Because I really, really would think it would be a much greater book if it were from a photographer full of photographs rather than words. And there are so many different versions of this and that and the other, and as we all know, the truth normally lies somewhere in the middle. So that is, apart from going, I'm not going live with him tonight. I think I've just gone dark. I haven't blacked up, guys, I promise. I better end it there. I don't know what it is with this phone. It's something to do with the screen. Just touch the screen, is it? No, it's something to do with the light, dark, I don't know. It goes really dark and really bright. And I say, I think I might have to buy another phone. But I'm getting a kettle first. I'm definitely going to get a new... The reason I have not replaced the kettle on the boat, because I know this is the part you've all been waiting for, isn't it? Sod Karl Larsen, who cares about Meghan Markle? You all want to hear about my kettle. Well, the reason I haven't replaced it is because I replaced the blooming kettle in the house, and I got a really cheap one off Amazon. More fool me, it was about €10. And it broke after about a week, and I thought, ugh! So I bought another one, cheap, and that broke. Ugh! So eventually I got this one, and then that started going dodgy because Ben and Indy had dropped it. Apparently they had it in the bedroom or something and it fell off the bed. I mean, oh God's sake, I don't know what they were doing with it. And it's been dodgy ever since. So I bought a new one for the house, which was really expensive for me. It was €40 for a blooming kettle. Anyway, it's the best, smartest kettle I've ever had in my life. I don't know, I mean, I've spent more money on cheap kettles. I should have just gone for the €40 one in the first place. So I'm kind of loath to buy yet another kettle, but do you know what? I think I'm going to get another one of those €40 because a massive part of my life, mine and Graham's, is drinking tea. We're extremely British. So I'm sorry that I made you wait throughout the whole video to find out all about my kettle. Anyway, in the meantime, I would love to hear your thoughts, opinions, free speech in the comments below, and hope to see you this evening on the live. I think we're going to put the Mac in a completely different position on the boat, so you'll get different aspects of the boat rather than just seeing us sitting in the wheelhouse. Thank you very much for listening.